the hollow ones. The forest stretched endlessly around them, dark and suffocating. The trees above tangled together, blotting out the evening light as three friends pushed through the undergrowth. The earthy scent of moss and damp leaves clung to their skin. Megan led the way, her flashlight cutting through the growing gloom. Every few minutes, she glanced down at her phone, where a blinking GPS pin taunted her. "This is insane," Tom muttered, tripping over a root. He barely caught himself, frustration thick in his voice. "Do you really think he's alive out here?" Megan didn't look back. "Jason sent this location last night, just before he stopped answering. He said he was checking something out. Then, nothing. This is our only chance to find him." Tom frowned, uneasy. But why would he come this deep into the woods? And how did he even get a signal out here? "I don't know," Megan admitted. Her grip on the flashlight tightened. "But if he's in trouble, we can't just leave him." Jenna's voice trembled as she stuck close to Tom. "If Jason isn't answering, maybe something bad happened. People say this forest doesn't let you leave, that it's cursed. Jason had gone missing the night before. He'd left behind nothing but a string of strange, rambling voicemails about symbols and a discovery. The GPS pin he'd sent was the only lead they had, and Megan wasn't ready to let go. But the deeper they went, the darker the forest seemed to grow. The silence felt wrong, too heavy, too still. Jenna slowed, glancing over her shoulder nervously. "This place doesn't feel right. They say people disappear here, and when they're found, they're not the same. It's like something hollowed them out." Tom nodded grimly. "Yeah, they call them the hollow ones." Megan shook her head, forcing her voice to stay steady. "It's just stories. We've got flashlights, phones, and each other. We'll be fine." But even as she spoke, a prickling unease grew in her chest. The shadows between the trees seemed deeper than they should have been. Longer. Night fell suddenly, swallowing the forest in darkness. The group stumbled into a clearing where a cave loomed ahead. Its jagged entrance was draped in vines like limp fingers. Cold air spilled out, carrying the faint stench of decay. Tom stopped short, staring. There's no way Jason came here willingly. Megan hesitated, staring into the gaping darkness. "I don't know why he came here, but this is where the pin leads. If he's in there, we have to find him." The cave swallowed their footsteps. The air was icy, prickling at their skin as they moved deeper. Strange symbols were etched into the walls, glowing faintly under the beam of Megan's flashlight. "Megan, we shouldn't be here," Jenna whispered. "This place, it feels alive." And then the whispers began, faint at first, just a low murmur like the wind moving through cracks in the stone. But as they ventured deeper, the voices grew louder, clearer. "Turn back, leave, you're not welcome." Jenna clutched Tom's arm, her breathing quick. "We can't keep going. Please, Megan, let's leave." Tom nodded, his flashlight shaking. "She's right. This place isn't right, Megan. It's like it's watching us." Megan forced herself to keep moving, even as the voices clawed at her mind. "If we leave now, Jason is gone forever. I'm not giving up on him." The tunnel widened into a cavern. At its center was a stone altar carved with the same sharp, angular symbols that covered the walls. Jason's voice echoed in Megan's memory. The symbols lead to something incredible. You just have to understand them. This is what he was talking about, Megan said softly. The symbols, they're a key. He must have been trying to figure it out. But before they could investigate further, the whispers surged, louder now and unmistakable. You will fail. You will become one of us. The shadows on the walls began to writhe, slowly at first, then peeling away entirely, forming tall, distorted figures. One of them lunged forward. Jenna screamed, and then she was gone. When Jenna's body rose again, her eyes were empty voids, her movements stiff and unnatural. "Run!" Tom shouted, grabbing Megan's arm. They bolted down a narrow passage, the shadows rushing after them. The walls seemed to close in around them, the voices growing deafening. You cannot escape. You belong to us now. The passage opened into another chamber. At its center stood a pedestal, and on it rested an obsidian sphere, glowing faintly with the same symbols as the altar. Megan's breath hitched as she stared at it. "This is it," she said. "Jason must have been trying to solve this. If I can figure it out, maybe I can stop them." Tom glanced nervously at the shadows creeping closer. "Megan, we don't have time for this. We need to go." But Megan was already at the pedestal, her hands trembling as she traced the symbols. "If I don't do this, Jason is gone. I have to try." Tom moved to stand between her and the advancing shadows, his flashlight flickering. Megan twisted the sphere, trying to align the symbols. The whispers drilled into her mind, louder now. "You will fail. You cannot save him." "No," she growled. "I can." The final symbol clicked into place. Light erupted from the sphere, blinding and searing. The shadow screamed, recoiling as the cavern shook violently. Rocks splintered and fell. Megan grabbed Tom's hand, dragging him toward the exit as the cave collapsed behind them. They tumbled out into the clearing, gasping for air. Megan clutched the glowing sphere, her chest heaving. The cave behind them was gone, its entrance sealed as though it had never been there. "It's over," Megan whispered, staring at the now smooth rock. Tom sat up slowly, brushing dirt from his hands. "Yeah," he said softly, "it's over." But something about his tone made Megan pause. His shadow stretched across the ground in the moonlight, and it wasn't right. It shifted and twisted unnaturally, like it had a mind of its own. "Tom," she said quietly, her voice shaking, "what's wrong with your eyes?" He smiled faintly, his pupils ringed with darkness. "You saved me," he said, his voice calm, too calm. Her blood ran cold. "You're not Tom." The smile widened, stretching unnaturally across his face. "You brought us out," he said. "You saved us." Megan stumbled back as the shadows slithered toward her. Tom's voice followed, echoing in the darkness. "You can't run. You didn't escape. You brought us with you." The next morning, no trace of Megan or Tom could be found. The forest remained silent, its secrets hidden. But locals swear, if you pass near the woods at night, you'll see shadows moving at the edges, shadows with human shapes, and eyes that glint with something dark. If the hollow ones gave you chills, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more eerie stories that will keep you up at night. And let me know in the comments, what would you have done if you were in Megan's shoes?